But as you can see, it says in plain English that this attack could cause a nationwide blackout lasting 1 year that could kill up to 90% of the American people through starvation and societal collapse. Unlike traditional weapons, we won't feel any blast on the ground, and there will be no mushroom cloud. Instead, this is a silent, untraceable bomb that's detonated above the atmosphere in outer space. It's called HEMP, or High Altitude Electromagnetic Pulse. It silently emits enhanced gamma rays potent enough to shut down America's power grid and fry all electronics across the entire country. The report concluded that the blast will black out our entire electric grid and other critical infrastructures. With a single blow, it can plunge our nation into darkness for 365 days. Most Americans have no idea how bad things could get under this kind of extended power outage. So let me spell it out for you, because it would have deadly implications for you and your family. You see, the moment this bomb is detonated, you'll instantly lose cell phone and internet services. No phone, no TV, no radio, no internet. Nothing. That means you can't call 911. You can't call firefighters or the cops. Heck, you won't even know where your local police are, or even if they still exist. You won't be able to call anyone for help or even check on your loved ones. All electronics will be turned into junk. You'll have no AC, no heating, no refrigerators. Banks will shut down. ATMs and credit cards won't work, which means you won't even be able to take your own money out of the bank. You won't be able to drive your car either. You see, modern cars and trucks have vulnerable microprocessors that control everything from engines to dashboard electronics. That means they'll stop working instantly. In fact, any transportation with electronic components will simply stop working. At any moment, there are about 5,000 planes flying over the U.S. They will instantly fall from the sky, killing 500,000 passengers or more. All that in just the first day of the attack. Since you're watching this video, you'll be one of the few Americans who will actually know what's going on. And more importantly, you'll know what to do to protect your family. Most people will have no idea of what's happening. They'll have no idea they're about to enter a world of darkness, starvation, and dehydration, because things will get much worse on day 2. Yes, at first, Mercy generators will provide pockets of light and power, but that won't last long at all, because without transportation, nobody will be able to get fuel for generators. Hospitals will shut down. Americans on intensive care or life support will also be among the first ones to die. Without utility generators, there will be no water pressure. That means your water faucets will begin to run dry. You won't be able to flush your toilet either. Once people realize power isn't coming back, the looting will begin in every neighborhood across America, including yours, even if you live in the suburbs. Grocery store and pharmacy shelves will be wiped clean in a matter of hours. Without transportation, stores won't be able to restock everyday necessities. Shelves will stay empty. And the supply of food, water, and medications will quickly dry up. Without refrigerators, it won't take long before food begins to spoil. In just a few days, this single attack would turn America back to the 18th century. By the end of that first week, millions of unprepared Americans will begin to eat from garbage cans. Hunger and panic will set in, and America will descend into total, lawless chaos. All hell will break loose with local gangs, fighting over what limited resources we have left. The mobs won't think twice before killing you and your family, and taking everything that you have. At that point, even your own neighbors will be desperate for food and clean drinking water, and they could become a threat to you. It will be every man for himself. If you've watched the movie Mad Max, you kind of get the idea. Look, I know this sounds crazy, and if you're thinking this can't happen here, just listen to what the former director of the CIA, James Woolsey, said. He warned lawmakers that this Russian electronic nuclear weapon could destroy much of the electric grid from above the U.S. with a single explosion. 2/3 of the U.S. population would likely perish from starvation, disease, and societal breakdown. Other experts estimate to likely lose closer to 90%. This is coming from the former CIA director. My patriot friend, this is not a drill. The threat is absolutely real. I've even discussed these national security issues with my good friend President Trump in a dinner at his golf course in New Jersey. Make no mistake, if you do nothing right now and just wait for the government to come save you, I can almost guarantee you'll be among the first casualties. You see, thanks to my military background, I uncovered shocking government intel that confirms nobody will come to help. And as a faithful Christian, a former Army infantry soldier who received a Purple Heart, and as a father of 4 kids, I feel like it's my duty to show you all the disturbing proof I've uncovered and tell you exactly what I'm going to do to protect my family. Because the truth is, we might have less than 24 hours to prepare. Like I said before, my name is Teddy Daniels. And if my name sounds familiar to you, maybe you've seen me on Tucker Carlson after he saw the combat footage from the day that I almost died. He invited me to his show to tell my story. Take a look.
So you were wounded while there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think we have video of that. I mean, which is sort of amazing. You had a helmet cam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is you in Afghanistan in a firefight. Here we go.
Somebody lay down some f***ing fire! I'm hit! I'm hit!
That's you?
That's me.
Shocking. That's shocking video.
April 25th, 2012.
I was hit by a round of AK-47, and that day, behind that rock, I had my talk with God. I had a vision of 2 soldiers coming to tell my son that his dad was killed behind a rock in Afghanistan. At that moment, I accepted death, but the rest of my unit was pinned down under heavy fire with no way out. And I didn't want my son to think that I went out without a fight. So I started going down the hill, shooting at the enemy, trying to draw fire away from my men, kill as many terrorists as I could. I was bleeding from my arm and my leg, and I was out in the open, fully exposed to enemy fire. But I had made my peace with God. If he was going to take me, he was going to take me. So the fact that I survived that gunfight, the fact that I'm here telling you my story, showed me that it was not my time yet. It showed me that God had bigger plans for me. And I believe that my bigger mission is to help as many Americans as possible prepare for this coming blackout disaster. That's why I decided to record this video and release it online. I want to show you a few critical survival techniques that you won't learn anywhere else. First, I must warn you that I'm about to show you is not sanctioned by the U.S. government. And the mainstream media is too corrupt to cover this story. So you definitely won't hear about it on the nightly news either. But thanks to my training in military intelligence, I've obtained some controversial information that I believe every American patriot deserves to know. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how the Biden administration is lying to you about this imminent risk and putting your life and the lives of your loved ones in danger. I'll show you irrefutable evidence that the U.S. blew up the Russian Nord Stream pipeline and that Russia is preparing for a counterattack with this nuclear electronic weapon. According to this official congressional report, if you ignore this message and do nothing, there's a 90% chance that you and your family could die within the first year of the attack. But you do not have to be a victim. In the next 2 minutes, I'll also show you a few simple steps you can take right now to prepare for this 365-day blackout. For example, I'll tell you about the one thing you must do in the first hour after the attack that will increase your family's chances of survival by 99%. How to have unlimited electricity without having to buy overpriced solar panels or backup generators. How to shield your cell phone, electronics, and even your car from this nuclear electronic attack, and much, much more. These are the same techniques some of our elite military commando teams are using to protect their families. They won't share them with civilians because they don't want the population to panic. But as a Christian and a veteran, I think every patriot deserves to know these survival secrets. So pay close attention to what I am about to say, because the safety and survival of your own family could very well depend on this critical information. When you learn these elite survival secrets, you'll know exactly what to do when the blackout begins. Most people won't know what's happening and why the power isn't coming back, but you'll be in complete control. You'll have peace of mind, knowing your family has all the resources they need to survive the blackout, no matter how long it lasts. Brother, let me tell you something. Being fully prepared like that puts a lot of power in your hands. And you've heard the saying, with great power comes great responsibility. You'll become the leader of your family, friends, and community. They will depend on you for security, advice, and safety. They will trust you with their lives. So I must warn you, whether you want this or not, you will become the alpha dog. And trust me, they'll need you to step up because, as you're about to see, our own government and military has admitted that our nation is not prepared for this attack. That means once the power goes out, nobody will be able to help you and your family. Not the government, not the police, not even the military. We'll all be fending for ourselves like animals. So if you want your family to survive, you'll need to be ready when the shit hits the fan, which could happen at any moment now. Just look at what happened in Venezuela in 2019. When the entire country lost power for 6 days, it became almost impossible to get food, water, and medicine. By the 5th day, Caracas residents were drinking water from sewage drains and polluted rivers. Looters ransacked stores and supermarkets, leaving shelves empty. At least 40 people died, and that was just 6 days. Imagine how many more would have died in 6 months or a full year. If you're thinking, can this really happen in America? I wish I could tell you no. I truly do. But according to this official report, written by these two Homeland Security experts, the answer is clear. Yes, it can happen here. And the sad part is, even though everything I mentioned so far is coming directly from government insiders and the highest ranks of our intelligence community, most people will dismiss this message as some kind of crazy conspiracy theory or the ravings of some doomsday prepper. And I can almost guarantee those people will be among the first ones to die during the coming 365-day blackout. But it doesn't have to be like that for you and your loved ones. You don't have to be a victim. If you follow the instructions I'm about to give you, you can protect yourself and your family from this attack. Look, I don't know how you found this video online. Perhaps a friend shared it with you, or you came across this page by divine intervention. Either way, it doesn't matter. I believe God wanted you to see this information because we could have less than 24 hours to prepare. You must act fast because, as you're about to see, the Ukraine war is escalating quickly, and Russia is now warning it could soon retaliate against the U.S. Last year, they already threatened to attack our power grid. The U.S. continued to support Ukraine. What has the Biden administration done since that threat? Using your taxpayer money, they've provided $75 billion to Ukraine, including weapons and training, even though you and I know that China is our real enemy. President Biden is driving us to a war with Russia. That's why Russia just issued a warning to the U.S. that all the support will have catastrophic consequences. And just in case you think they're bluffing, you should know that while President Biden was visiting Ukraine and pledging America's support for as long as it takes, Russia was conducting intercontinental ballistic missile tests with the same types of missiles that could deliver an HEMP attack. No wonder former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, if I even said it right, has also just warned Americans to prepare for a possible apocalypse. Make no mistake, Russia is preparing for this nuclear electronic attack. And according to the official report from the Congressional Advisory Board on Homeland Security, the U.S. won't be able to stop it. Take a look. It says a widespread, protracted blackout is inevitable. Former senior Defense Department official Dr. Mark Snyder has also confirmed that America has no defense against it. That's why you must act now to protect yourself and your loved ones. Please understand, I know this all sounds crazy. As a father of 4 kids, I pray every day that I'm wrong, but I can't simply bury my head in the sand and ignore all the evidence I found, even though the lying media won't say a word about this. Everything points to an imminent attack. So pay close attention, because I'm about to reveal details of the Ukraine war our own government does not want you to know. I've already been attacked by the Washington Post, the New York Slimes, and Rolling Stone because of my political views. I've had the DNC spend millions of dollars trying to destroy my reputation simply because I'm a patriot. So I have no doubt big tech and our corrupt administration would not think twice before censoring me. For that reason, I can't guarantee how long I'll be able to keep this video online. And once the attack begins, it will obviously be too late. Remember, you won't be able to access the internet or call anyone for help. You will be fully on your own. That means today, right now, could be your only chance to learn the life-saving secrets I'm about to share. I'm about to get into all the details. First, let me tell you a little bit more about myself. Before I joined the military, I was a cop outside of Baltimore for about 15 years. I did everything from regular patrol to narcotics, from investigations to a special weapons operator, from community service to a hand-to-hand combat instructor. Then in 2011, the war in Afghanistan started getting really bad. Every night on the news, I'd see the caskets coming home, and I felt like I had to do something about it, because I come from a family of veterans. My grandfather was in the Marine Corps. He fought on Iwo Jima. My other grandfather lost a leg during the D-Day invasion. They risked their lives to protect our freedoms. I wanted to do the same. So even though I was 35 at the time, I decided to enlist active duty. But I wasn't just looking for any military job behind a desk. I was walking away from a career that I loved. So it had to mean something. That's why when I talked to the Army recruiter, I told them I want the hardest job you possibly have. And that's being an infantry. It's the most physically demanding, psychologically stressful job in the military. Because you're always in combat, constantly putting your life on the line. Knowing anytime you leave the wire, you get shot in the face. In fact, on my first deployment, they sent me to Kunar province in Afghanistan, which at the time was known as the deadliest place on earth. They even called that area the Valley of Death. At first, I didn't really understand the significance of that name, but I quickly realized that I had been sent to hell on earth. We were in gunfights every day, rocket attacks, IEDs, mortar attacks on a daily basis. I lost several very close friends. And I'm only here today because of a miracle. In that video I showed you earlier, you saw that I dropped my rifle when I got hit. What you didn't see is that I was holding that rifle right in front of my face. That AK-47 round was going straight to my head, but it hit my rifle instead. That's the only reason why I'm still here. My story got a lot of press at the time. I was virtually on the front page of every paper in the country. I was even invited on Oprah, Jimmy Kimmel, Jay Leno. I turned them all down because I did not want the attention. Like I said, I lost friends over there, and those guys are the real heroes because they paid the ultimate sacrifice. Sure, I was wounded. The VA actually wanted to amputate my right leg, but I'm still here. I still get to wake up every day. I still get to hang out with my kids, including my youngest son. So the least I can do in the time that I have left on this earth is to help as many Americans prepare for this coming 365-day blackout. So when I first heard about this HEMP threat, started looking into it, like I mentioned earlier, I recently got a hold of this report you're seeing on your screen called Blackout Warfare. This is the official report from the Congressional Advisory Board on Homeland Security I told you about earlier, and it details how our enemies, including Russia and China, could be preparing for blackout warfare. I read that report from top to bottom, and with each line, my heart, folks, was pounding faster and faster. The more I read, the more I thought, holy crap, we are screwed. You see, that report explained how Russia has been developing and testing this HEMP bomb since the 1960s. But only recently they developed the technology to actually detonate the bomb over the US. I'm talking about hypersonic missiles that travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound. Unlike traditional missiles, it can change its trajectory to trick defense systems. It can also travel without being detected by radar. In other words, these hypersonic missiles cannot, I repeat, cannot be stopped by our missile defense system. Simply put, our military and our country is totally unprepared. And if you've been paying attention, that shouldn't really surprise you now, should it? I think every patriot American knows that under President Biden, our military has gone completely woke and is no longer focused on defending us. I mean, the Pentagon has publicly declared that its priorities are climate change and promoting equity and diversity. The Navy is even using drag queens in its recruit campaigns. Folks, nothing against the Navy, but I was Army, so I could talk a little trash. What a joke. While our enemies like China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, yeah, folks, every day they are training to kill us, our military is teaching soldiers garbage, like how to use made-up pronouns, or the idea that men can be women, and that all white people, I guess me, are racists. No wonder our military has become a laughing stock around the world. As a veteran who lost friends in battle, it sickens me to see that our woke military can no longer protect us, even though you and I are the ones paying for their salary. That's why me, and many veterans I have served with, have already taken measures to protect our families from this imminent attack. All I want to share, all these elite survival techniques with you today, including an HEMP proof source of energy I call unlimited energy, right in your pocket. A magic 5-inch device you can install on your breaker box that will instantly turn your entire home into an HEMP shield. The Air Force One secret that can protect your computers and cell phones from this attack, and much, much more. And I want to put all these instructions in your hands today so you can save yourself, your wife, your children, and your grandchildren. But before I give you all the details, you might be asking yourself, gee, why would Russia launch this attack? So let me show you how Russia has the motive and the means and the opportunity to launch an unstoppable attack against America. An attack that could have deadly consequences for you and your family, regardless of where you live in the U.S. So let me take you back to September 26, 2022. That's when C4 explosives destroyed 164 feet of the Nord Stream pipeline. The underwater pipeline that was bringing Russian gas to Germany. I'm sure you've seen the images of this sabotage on TV. Now, maybe you've heard the corrupt mainstream media telling you that, hey, Russia did it. It's also what the Biden administration said. Before you take their word for it, ask yourself, has the media or Biden administration lied to you at all in the last couple years? Think about it. They told you that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. They told you that the idea of COVID, that it came from the Wuhan lab, was a conspiracy theory. You know, it came from people eating bats at a market. They told you that the vaccines were safe and effective while people across the country are dropping dead. They told you that our border is secure, yeah, and that men can get pregnant, that our economy is strong as hell, and that our inflation would be transitory. They lie and lie and lie and lie some more. That's all they do. And when they get caught, They act like nothing happened, and then they just move on to the next lie. Do you think they're telling the truth about the Nord Stream pipeline? You see, this pipeline gave Russia huge leverage in this war with Ukraine. They could just tell Europe, hey, you better not get involved in this war, or I'll shut off the pipeline and your population will freeze to death. Why would Russia blow up its own pipeline and lose all the leverage that they had? Why would they shoot themselves in the foot by blowing up a pipeline that had the potential to generate $15 billion a year for Russia? It makes no sense, guys. None. Of course, I'm not surprised they're blaming Russia, even though you and I and every American patriot know that China is our real enemy. The Dems blame Russia, Russia, Russia. Guys, you heard Trump say it. Russia, Russia, Russia. They need to cover up this sabotage because it's a clear act of war. The truth is, the U.S. intentionally destroyed a key Russian infrastructure, giving President Putin a legitimate reason to attack our infrastructure. And that's not just me saying it. Listen to what Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh wrote. Navy divers destroyed the Nord Stream pipelines, according to a source with direct knowledge of the operational planning. Biden's decision to sabotage the pipeline came after more than 9 months of highly secret back-and-forth debate inside Washington's national security community. Biden did it. The smoking gun actually comes directly from President Biden. Listen to this.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly? Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Even though he was probably not supposed to say anything about this, he went off teleprompter again and clearly admitted that the U.S. was planning the sabotage. Without the pipeline, Russia has lost its political leverage. And now, guess who gets to supply natural gas to Europe? The U.S. That's why, when asked about the pipeline bombing, Biden's Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, said this. This is a tremendous opportunity. When you put all these pieces together, it's clear Biden did it. And now you and your family will pay for it. Putin is not dumb. He knows Biden blew up his pipeline. He has publicly declared that on Russian TV. Listen to this.
Политически Штаты, конечно, заинтересованы для того, чтобы прекратить подачу российских энергоносителей на европейский рынок и поставлять объемы своего, в том числе сжиженного природного газа, даже если он намного на 25-30% дороже, чем российский.
And make no mistake, our incompetent president has driven us into an unnecessary war with Russia, and the war is escalating. Biden already said the U.S. won't stop supporting Ukraine until Russia is defeated. They even rejected a ceasefire recently. And Ukraine is no longer just defending its territory. They now want to take Crimea back, which means invading Russia. And the U.S. wants to change Russia's regime, just like they did with Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Again, listen to what President Biden said.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
He clearly said President Vladimir Putin cannot remain in power. We also have U.S. Congress members publicly calling for Putin's assassination.
I hope he'll be taken out, one way or the other. I don't care how they take him out.
That's why President Putin recently said in a national TV speech that Russia is fighting for its existence. And he's personally fighting for his life. He has his back against the wall. Do you honestly think a former KGB agent who's a cold-blooded killer will seriously go down without a fight? No, he's not going to. Do you think he's afraid of Sleepy Joe, a bumbling fool who's clearly showing signs of dementia? No, definitely not. That's why a Russian jet recently attacked a U.S. drone. And it's why Putin recently suspended Russian participation in the last remaining nuclear arms control treaty with the United States. Why would Russia do that? Folks, you ain't got to be a rocket scientist to know that they're getting ready to attack us. But they're not going to use traditional weapons. They don't want to get in a shooting war with the U.S. They don't need to. As the former Russian ambassador to the U.S., Vladimir Lukin, said, hypothetically,